What if the greatest enemy of your smile wasn't sugar, but time? Every year, millions of people around the world lose teeth, develop infections that go far beyond the mouth, and pay fortunes for treatments that, in many countries, simply don't exist. Dental health has been, for decades, one of the most unequal sectors in all of medicine. But something is changing, and what lies ahead over the next 30 years could completely transform the way we understand, care for, and even regenerate our teeth. This is the future of the dental industry. Today, in 2026, the global state of oral health is, at the same time, impressive and alarming. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 3.5 billion people worldwide suffer from some form of oral disease. That is nearly half of humanity. Dental cavities are the most common chronic condition among children and adults globally, affecting between 60 and 90% of school-age children in developed countries, and an even higher proportion in lower-income nations. Severe periodontal disease, the kind that destroys the bone and tissues that support the teeth, affects more than 1 billion people, and in many cases is directly linked to cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and complications during pregnancy. The global dental market today surpasses $500 billion annually, and is projected to keep growing. The major corporations in the sector, such as Dentsply Sirona, Align Technology, and Vista Holdings, and the Swiss giant Straumann, dominate the markets for implants, orthodontics, and diagnostic technology. Mass consumer companies like Colgate-Palmolive and Procter & Gamble control the oral hygiene products that reach households across the planet. Yet despite this enormous flow of money, access to dental care remains profoundly unequal. In sub-Saharan Africa, there are regions where there is one dentist for every 150,000 inhabitants. In Latin America, 70% of the population cannot afford specialized dental treatments on a regular basis. In Southeast Asia, millions of people resort to extraction as their only solution because preventive treatment is simply out of reach. The sector is also being impacted by an unprecedented wave of digitalization. Intraoral scanners, 3D printing of prosthetics, artificial intelligence applied to radiological diagnosis, and CAD/CAM systems that allow dental crowns to be fabricated in minutes are no longer science fiction. They are tools that exist in clinics around the world, though still concentrated in high-income countries. This is the picture of the present. Now comes the question that truly matters. Where is all of this heading? In the decade of the 2030s, the most visible change will not be technological. It will be economic. Artificial intelligence will have matured enough to integrate massively into dental diagnosis, allowing a single X-ray to be analyzed in seconds with a precision that surpasses that of a trained human eye. Emerging companies like OralSense AI or DentaVision, founded in the late 20s, will begin offering remote diagnostic platforms accessible from mobile phones. A farmer in Kenya or a homemaker in Bolivia will be able to receive a preliminary analysis of their oral health without ever stepping into a clinic. Dental materials will also have taken an important leap. Next-generation biomaterials, based on hydrogels and bioactive ceramics, will allow cavity sealants that not only stop cavities, but stimulate remineralization of damaged enamel. Some studies currently in the experimental phase at laboratories in Oxford and MIT will begin producing the first clinical results of drugs that stimulate partial tooth regeneration, though still limited to very specific cases. But the decade will not be free of tension. As artificial intelligence begins to displace clinical tasks previously reserved for professionals, dental associations in Europe and North America will launch a series of intense regulatory battles. In 2033, the College of Dentists of Spain will file a class action lawsuit against a dental telemedicine platform based in Luxembourg, arguing that its algorithms were performing diagnoses without certified human oversight. The case will take years to resolve, but it will put on the table a question that no one will be able to ignore. Who is responsible when an artificial intelligence makes a medical error? Universities will begin to rethink their training programs, and dentists of this generation will discover that their role is shifting away from being technical and becoming increasingly strategic and relational. By the decade of the 2040s, the industry will have changed structurally. Three-dimensional printing of biological tissue, known as bioprinting, will have reached a level of sophistication sufficient for the first commercial laboratories to offer dental implants printed with the patient's own cells. The Danish company BioRoot Lab, founded in 2037 as a spin-off from research at the University of Copenhagen, will be a pioneer in this field. Its implants, grown from stem cells extracted from the patient's own dental pulp, will drastically reduce the risk of rejection and promise a durability that conventional titanium implants cannot match. Preventive dentistry will also have taken a leap that will directly impact pharmaceutical companies. A consortium of Japanese and Canadian researchers will publish in 2041 the results of a massive clinical trial with a compound called DS-17, capable of regenerating dental enamel in a controlled manner through a weekly topical application. The dental world will be divided between those who see this as the revolution they always waited for and those who fear that if teeth can repair themselves, the business of restorations will collapse. And indeed, that collapse will begin. Clinics that depend on the sale of crowns, inlays, and fillings will see their revenues fall steadily. Large dental laboratories in Germany, Italy, and Mexico will begin massive restructurings. Not all of them will survive. The blow will not be instantaneous, but it will be constant like water eroding rock. Mid-sized cities across Latin America, where dentistry was always one of the most stable and lucrative professions, will begin reporting an oversupply of newly graduated dentists with insufficient market to absorb them. Schools of dentistry in Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia will start debating whether it makes sense to continue training the same number of professionals under a model that no longer corresponds to reality. By the time the 2050s arrive, the line between medicine and dentistry will have begun to blur in a way that very few anticipated. Advances in genomics and the oral microbiome will have revealed connections so deep between the health of the mouth and the overall state of the body that several of the world's healthcare systems will begin integrating dental care within general preventive medicine programs. In Finland, the government will launch in 2052 a pilot program called Oral Health 360, in which every citizen will receive continuous monitoring of their oral microbiome through a small sensor adhered to the inside of the cheek, connected to a national health platform. The data collected will allow for early detection of indicators not only of cavities or periodontal disease, but also of certain types of oral cancer, signs of systemic inflammation, and markers associated with cardiovascular risk. The idea will spread quickly. South Korea, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates will launch similar programs before the decade ends. But deep resistance will also emerge. In the United States, privacy advocacy groups will denounce that the technology companies behind these sensors are accumulating biological databases of incalculable value without citizens truly understanding what they are consenting to. An investigation by the New York Times will reveal that a subsidiary of a major health insurer had used oral microbiome data from its clients to covertly adjust health insurance premiums. The scandal will generate a wave of legislation in Europe and parts of Asia, but the debate over the limits of biological surveillance will have only just begun. On the technological front, by mid-century surgical robots specialized in dental procedures will be a consolidated reality in high-complexity hospitals. They will not fully replace the dentist, but they will reduce surgery times, eliminate human tremor in delicate procedures, and allow implants and periodontal surgeries to be performed with millimetric precision. In remote areas of Africa and Southeast Asia, mobile units equipped with these technologies will begin to be deployed by non-governmental organizations and developing country governments, narrowing, though not entirely eliminating, the historical access gap. Looking toward the decade of the 2060s, the landscape takes on contours that are today difficult to imagine with full certainty, but which current data consistently suggest. If stem cell-based tooth regeneration trials reach their maximum clinical potential, there could exist for the first time in history a treatment capable of growing a new tooth in an adult. Not a prosthetic, not an implant. A biological tooth, the patient's own, integrated into the bone and connected to the nervous system. Researchers currently working in this field at University College London and at the Riken Institute in Japan estimate that this scenario could be technically viable before 2060, though its mass and affordable access would take additional decades. But even if that technology arrived, it would not arrive alone. The initial cost would be prohibitive for most of the planet. Countries with robust healthcare systems would incorporate it progressively. Poorer countries would once again be left in the waiting line. The drug, the procedure, the promise of a new tooth, would for many be nothing more than a news story they read on their phones while living with a pain they have been ignoring for years. The gap will not disappear on its own. It never has. And this, precisely, is what deserves deep reflection. In 30 years, the dental industry will have traveled an extraordinary path. It will shift from being a highly artisanal sector, dependent on the manual skill and clinical eye of the professional, to becoming an ecosystem where artificial intelligence, synthetic biology, biomaterials, and precision medicine work in an integrated way. The teeth that today are treated with drills and amalgam will be treated with molecules designed to repair themselves. Diagnoses that today require years of training and costly equipment will be available in the palm of the hand of someone who has never set foot in a dental clinic in their life. But the story of this industry will also be the story of its contradictions. Every advance will come accompanied by a new form of exclusion, a new conflict of interest, a new question that society will not know how to answer right away. Who controls the data from your mouth? Who pays for the technology when the market has no incentive to bring it to those who need it most? What does it mean to be a dentist in a world where algorithms diagnose better than the human eye? The future of the dental industry is not written in a laboratory or in a boardroom. It is being built right now in every public policy decision, in every research project funded or discarded, in every regulation approved or ignored. What is coming is not inevitable. It is the sum of what we decide to prioritize, of what we consider urgent, and of how many we are willing to leave behind. That is what is at stake. And time, as always, keeps moving forward.